And some guys are going to get bigger paydays, and good for them.
Right. We're willing to stretch, right? But there's certain things in the NBA that you have to be, suicidal to do, and we're not going to do those. One of them was called the second apron.
That's the owner of a team that just won the NBA championship. The Knicks waited 53 years for a banner. 53. Within weeks, the owner went on a radio show and basically said keeping them together would be financial suicide in GTA. Not because of the money, because Dolan has plenty of money, but because one rule buried in the CBA, and by the end of this video, you're going to see how that rule is quietly deleting every team that you once loved. What is the second apron, you ask? Real simple. There's a salary cap, there's a luxury tax, and then $17.5 million above the tax, there's this line. For next season, about $221 million. Cross it, and people are not paying anyone any more money. The rulebook starts taking tools away from your team, from your favorite organization. You can't combine salaries in a trade. Everything has to be a 1-for-1, and you can't take back more money than you send out. You lose that mid-level exception. The only players you can add are minimum level guys. Now let's be real here. How many minimum level guys are really contributing to a championship caliber team? But here's the scariest part. Your first round pick 7 years out gets frozen. And if you stay over that line in 2 of the next 4 years, that pick automatically drops to number 30 in the draft. Doesn't matter your record. And look, credit where credit's due. This was designed to stop the rich teams from just buying championships, which is a fair deal. But I'm gonna be honest with you, when these rules dropped in 2023, the CBA, everybody read it as rich teams can't spend any more money. Nobody read the fine print of what the actual new CBA was. What they actually did is colder than that. They didn't cap spending, they capped loyalty. They made it structurally impossible for great teams to stay together, and the last 2 summers of free agency are proof. Start in Boston, because no franchise shows you the whole crime scene like the Celtics. June 2024, banner 18. A year later, their payroll plus tax was projected at $540 million. That's $500 million for one roster. So what exactly happened? Drew Holiday gone, he's to Portland. Porzingis gone, he's to Atlanta. The bill drops to $280. Brad Stevens, the general manager, he stands up there and he told you himself the reason. Financial flexibility, not basketball, but flexibility.
Drew
and this
being
summer
here
they
for
finished
2
the
years,
job.
KP being here for 2
Jaylen
years,
Brown,
obviously
the
had a
Finals
huge
MVP
impact,
of the
not only on
2024
our team but on the
championship
city
team,
and the
traded to the
community and
Sixers a few weeks ago to a all-time rival.
everybody in this building, certainly
Paul
the entire
George,
Celtics
2
organization.
first-round picks,
We
2
wanna
years.
First, before we
That's
do anything
how long
else, take
it
a moment
took
to
for a Finals MVP to last on a title team in this new CBA. 2 years. And here's the scary part. That should really, really scare you guys. Per Shams, Boston decided they couldn't win another championship with Tatum and Brown, and it has nothing to do with basketball. The math with 2 max guys just doesn't add up. It equals no tools. You can't have anything around that. That's taken over 50% of the salary cap. And if you think that's just a Boston problem, look around the league. Phoenix built their big 3 and the Apron dismantled them in 3 summers max. Durant gets shipped out to Houston for Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks. And Bradley Beal, they'd even trade Bradley Beal. They paid him to leave. They bought him out and stretched his contract just so they could get under that new apron. Now let's talk about Milwaukee. Giannis Antetokounmpo. He recently just got traded to the Miami Heat. I think he's making about $58.5 million next year. He gets traded to Miami last month, and look what the Milwaukee Bucks got in return. They sent out 7 $3 million salaries and took back 53. It's not even a basketball trade. That's an accounting trade. The best player of the generation got moved like a line item at a grocery store. How does that even make sense? Even his own trade was structured so Miami hard capped themselves in the process. Every direction you look, the rules holding the pen. But the rules didn't just change rosters, it changed you as well. Whether if you notice it or not, it changed what being a fan even means, and let me show you. Think about what a fan used to be. You picked a team, you stayed loyal. If you stay long enough, you might even love it. Now you buy a Jaylen Brown jersey after he wins finals MVP, and 2 years later, that jersey's just a museum piece that you hang on your wall. He's not on the Celtics no more. What do you do now? Fans like you and me only have one rational thing left to do. Stop following these teams and follow the players. And the league's own numbers prove it. When Luka got moved mid-season to the Lakers, he didn't just change teams, he took an audience with him. Jumped from 6th to number 1 in selling jerseys in the league. His first game back against Dallas did 2.5 million viewers, biggest TNT game since opening night. The league itself brags that merch is up and over 20%, yada yada yada, because of individual stars like Shea, Ant, Wemby, Luka, not teams, but names. And don't get it twisted, that's not fans being disloyal, fans are just adapting. When the roster has a 2-year shelf life, the player is the only thing that's stable to be a fan of. The second Apron turned the NBA into a league of solo artists. Now, to be fair, there is a whole other side to this, and it's a pretty strong side, and that's parity. 8 different champions in 8 straight seasons, which include the Raptors, the Lakers, the Bucks, Warriors, Nuggets, Celtics, Thunder, and this year's Knicks. That has literally never happened in NBA history before. And to even get close to it, you got to go back to maybe like the 70s to get even like anything close to that. Small market teams aren't donors anymore. OKC won a title. Indiana made that same final. And what was the product? Viewership hit a 15-year high that season. So look in the lens of the league office. You don't think this is a rule bug by any means. You probably think this is the most successful thing you've ever done in the history of the league. Every October, 20 plus fan bases genuinely believe they have a chance to win a championship. There are kids in Oklahoma who watch their team win a championship because of the CBA. Well, we actually got to credit, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and the Clippers. But that's a whole different story for a different day. And then he goes back to Toronto. We'll get into that. That'll be another video. Let me know if you guys want to see a video about that. But to get back to what I was saying, basically the CBA has made it impossible for big market teams to just stack talent forever with their unlimited money coming in. And so with this new CBA, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's all bad for basketball, because it isn't. But here's what it really means. And please don't miss this. The league didn't choose parity or dynasties. That's not what's going on here. It chose parity instead of greatness lasting. Think about Duncan's Spurs, Kobe's Lakers, specifically Duncan's Spurs. How long did they last together? 2 decades, if not more. It felt like an eternity. Functionally, that's illegal now. Curry, Clay, Draymond, a decade of just straight splash bros and hoops and Draymond kicking people in the nuts. That's no more. You can't do that anymore. The math doesn't allow it. Under the CBA, greatness has a shot clock, and it's about 2 years long. Maybe 3 if you're lucky. Win a title, take your parade, and start saying your goodbyes. Because as soon as you put pen to paper to multiple players with max deals, the rule book has already decided your team's future. We used to watch these teams become legendary. Now we watch them become cap sheets. So you might ask, really, what's your take?
As big of a check as
well,
possible,
I can tell you this.
I
The
can't
New York
write
Knicks
a
will
check
not
that goes
repeat
into
and win
the
another
second.
championship this upcoming season. They already don't have Mitchell Robinson. They lost him. And the reason why I say the Knicks won't win isn't because of basketball. It's because Dolan already said he's not willing to pay to keep the team together. This 8-8 becomes 10-10 in like 2 years. And here's my real prediction. By the time the CBA gets reopened, the league's going to quietly soften separate apron. Because sooner or later, they're going to realize the thing they killed wasn't super teams. It was the reason your dad and his dad rooted for the same team their whole lives. So let me hear it. Would you rather one team win and get gutted, or contend for 10 years and maybe never win it? Drop it down below and tell me your team's second apron casualty so far, because I know you got one. And that's the Redley Report. I'll catch you on the next one.